Good morning. My name is Alex Baines and I'm the head of Building Better for Gobain Interior Solutions, the home of British Gypsum and Eastover. Perhaps more relevant for today is that I'm the chair of the British Standards Institute Retrofit Standards Task Group, responsible for PAS 2035 and other standards, and also co-chair for the Retrofit Coordinator Apprenticeship Standard that we expect will launch later this year, as well as being involved in many other retrofit-related government and industry working groups. When talking about retrofit, it is easy to see and talk about the various benefits that exist for occupants, their families and their communities, landlords, contractors, installers, and indeed anyone connected with a retrofit project. And these are indeed what we must strive for and achieve. But it's not always so easy to achieve. We need to remember that the challenge that we face as an industry is immense. It is not just a local affair. In the UK, there are over 27 million dwellings, and the cost of retrofitting existing buildings is likely to be in the order of £1 trillion, and it must be done well. There is neither the time nor the money to get it wrong and do it all again. A phrase that a legend of the industry, Peter Rickaby, would repeat at every government and industry meeting over the past decade. Just 8 years ago, the Each Home Counts report was published following thousands of failures and complaints to government. Trust in retrofit was incredibly low. Homes were getting damaged and they were damaging people's health. This showed us that retrofit is easy, really easy to get wrong, and that we were unlikely to see a problem within a year or possibly even within 10 years of a project completion. This shone an enormous light on unintended consequences, a phrase that we all know. But rather than go into that too deeply, there is a recent white paper that covers our history and the resulting standards, their necessity, as well as some of their benefits and future plans. If you haven't read them both, I strongly encourage you to do so, as we all here cannot afford to forget the lessons gained then. Our biggest challenge is to do it in a way which mitigates risks to people's health and the buildings, things like fire and moisture and mould. The risks apply as much to a single homeowner as they do to large-scale housing retrofits by landlords under asset management and investment programmes. In the last quarter of last year, the latest versions of PAS 2035 and PAS 2030 were released, and thankfully for us all, these are now freely accessible and available to everyone. They continue to push our industry forwards in the management and mitigation of risk in retrofit. If we are to achieve the benefits that we can all see, then what do we need to do today to make sure that we deliver projects without repeating those mistakes of the past, of delivering projects that mean that we do not go back to someone's home, to repair or remediate a previous failure that was avoidable, even just to reduce the financial and other risk on ourselves and our companies? We need to mitigate against those unintended consequences. But apart from avoiding the mistakes of the past and following the standards, what else can we do? Well, to my mind, there are two things that we can really do. Manage our own risks and plan for the future. I'll take these two topics in turn. So, what do I mean by managing our own risks? Well, I like to take a term known to all of us, unintended consequences, and using it in scenarios that are not related to a retrofit project can be illuminating. The unintended consequences of the decisions that you make, how do you mitigate those? How might you explain to someone that you chose not to manage risks identified by your wider industry? Are you saying that you can manage risk better, as you know it all, and more than your competitor maybe? How can someone check that? Will they trust you? As we look to scale up, maybe you can do this, but can everyone around you? How will people choose between you and your competitor? How do you make a choice about your partners? What about skills and training? Are you restricting where you or others can work, or developing a blueprint that you could roll out first locally and then throughout the UK? Will it affect your insurance premiums, or even which jobs you work on? Imagine if you personally were the person who agreed not to require a standard that managed risks and had been persuaded of an alternative route because it cost less or meant you had less admin or discounted the concept of risk. How might you feel years later when you learnt someone had ended up in hospital Would you look back and still believe that you'd done everything you could at the time to mitigate those known risks? What if it resulted in a similar outcome to the case of Awab Ishak that has highlighted the importance to a wider audience? What if it was your home, and more importantly, your family? Or how might the new building safety regulator view all of this? Questions. The questions can be never-ending. What messages do these decisions send to our clients or our partners, or even the occupants themselves? Might they see something that devalues our intentions of saving them money or delivering their projects quickly? So, what is a way forward? How do we scale up everything to achieve those all-important benefits and still manage these risks? Well, the reality is that there is no easy way. To me, the answer to all of this is to develop trust in the industry, in our partners, in our solutions. The real reason that we are all here together today. We all care about the same thing and want to do the right thing. As we develop the right skills and protections, we're likely to develop the right partnerships through trusting each other. And this will lead us to demonstrate joint solutions and successes across the industry. The unintended consequences are that this in turn gives trust to those making the policy decisions, those setting mortgages, warranties or insurance premiums, trust to those making financial decisions or pricing contracts, the confidence to invest in our workforces and the work that must be done, and most crucially, maybe trust to occupants and homeowners that we will do the right thing for them. And who knows, if more people trust the work being done, then even more might want it. The real decisions that will affect immediate change are which partners we choose to move forward with. I feel very privileged to have joined Saint-Gobain just before lockdown, although I knew very little of the manufacturing side of our industry. But with a global purpose of making the world a better home, I've seen many things that give me huge hope for the wider industry and what lies ahead. The full resources of the company, including things like the technical and R&D expertise, the independently accredited fire test labs, and the nationwide training facilities and our college courses. These are all available to explore and deliver solutions with our partners. The company already has a wealth of knowledge and experience, but unlike many manufacturers, we have developed a dedicated retrofit and refurbishment sector team. This team works on identifying the big challenges and is adjusting the product offering to become systemised to include things like training and warranties for the market, and changing our approach to meet what the requirements of the industry are. This is not only about internal things like retrofit coordinator training, which aren't a direct necessity but are key to understanding all parts of the retrofit supply chain, but how to best help and work with our partners for their benefit as well. None of us here today can deliver a full project on our own. We need a team. This team needs to work closely together to achieve all those benefits and to avoid the pitfalls at every stage of a project. We need to continue to learn from each other and evolve as partners. The crucial ingredient for any project is the partners we choose to work with on project after project, and the trust that engenders in achieving the ultimate project outcomes. I mentioned PAS 2035 earlier, and also my roles within industry. The PAS cannot be perfect for everyone, and is currently working on streamlining accreditation and routes to delivering protected work. And it will also continue to need plenty of amendments to be truly optimised for all. But it needs all of us to partner together, to feed in, to help us all so that everyone in the UK can benefit. And for these reasons, it will now undergo annual changes. We are developing the Industry Retrofit Coordinator Apprenticeship Standard to be released later this year. And this will be followed by the Assessor role and various installer roles. And it is these and other changes that I've seen in the industry since my involvement in Each Home Counts that has been fascinating to watch. But it is the little changes that have really given me hope for the future of retrofit. The signs are beginning to appear all around us. The opportunities to develop with the right skills for the right outcomes are becoming rapidly more apparent. These skills and partnerships that we develop now are how we will make a difference that learns from the errors of the past and delivers retrofit for the future.